In Egypt's Cave of Beasts, there are tiny handprints that don't belong to human hands, but to something researchers still can't identify. Beneath San Francisco in Lima, workers discovered a sealed chamber that is believed to have contained a headless body with 14 arms and no neck. In Zambia, archaeologists found a wooden structure built long before humans existed. It's not a sci-fiction movie, these are 15 ancient discoveries that remain unexplained to this day. Number 15. The Warrior Stones of Filitosa. Well, Corsica may be famous for its beaches today, but the island also gave us something found nowhere else quite like it in the Mediterranean. At Filitosa, ancient standing stones were carved into human figures, complete with faces, helmets, armor, and swords. Around 70 of these statue menhirs are known across Corsica, with some dating back thousands of years. What makes them so strangely interesting is how personal they look. Their noses, faces, weapons, and headgear differ, almost as though we are looking at individual warriors rather than the same symbol repeated over and over. But no one left us their names or explained why their images were carved into stone. Later, several statues were deliberately broken and reused inside new structures, sometimes with their faces turned inward. So, was someone simply recycling old stone, or were they purposely destroying monuments that belonged to an earlier people? Number 14. The interlocking wooden structure wood, well, is not the kind of material we expect to survive after 476,000 years. Somehow, at Colombo Falls in Zambia, it survived long enough to tell a rather strange story. Two large tree trunks had been worked and fitted across one another, with a broad notch carved into one piece so the second could sit firmly inside it. Scraping, chopping, and shaping marks still remain on the timber. Whoever handled these logs was not simply making another spear or digging stick, they were joining separate pieces together for something much larger. Perhaps people walked across it, worked on it, or used it as the base of a shelter. We simply do not know. What makes the age impossible to ignore is that Homo sapiens would not appear for well over another 100,000 years. Someone else understood timber well enough to cut, shape, and lock these enormous pieces together, and whatever they finished building has disappeared with them. Number 13. The headless entity beneath San Francisco back in 1969. Workers were fixing drainage beneath Lima's Basilica of San Francisco when their job suddenly became something else entirely. They broke through a stone wall and, according to this account, found thousands of human remains surrounding something that certainly didn't belong among them. Curled inside was a strange body, measuring nearly 7 feet when extended. He had no head or face, not even a place where a neck should have joined the body. Instead, 14 arms ran along its sides, ending in 3 flexible fingers. But here's the detail worth remembering. 2 stone pivots controlled the chamber door from inside, sitting roughly 11 feet apart. No ordinary person could operate both together. But stretch out this creature's limbs, and they reach 11 feet 4 inches. Was that a mere coincidence? Maybe. But within 24 hours, the remains were taken away, workers stopped talking, and concrete covered the entrance 3 days later. Number 12. The ancient butchered rhino at Kalinga on Luzon, archaeologists found the complete skeleton of an extinct rhinoceros, but what shocked them wasn't the animal itself. Several bones carried clear cut marks, and nearby lay 57 stone tools, evidence that someone had butchered the carcass roughly 709,000 years ago. Now, that date pushed the known human presence in the Philippines back by hundreds of thousands of years. The rhino's ribs showed marks from removing flesh, while its leg bones had been smashed, probably to reach the marrow inside. But the biggest question is who actually did it. No hominin remains were recovered with the animal, leaving experts unable to identify the tool makers. There was another problem. Luzon has remained separated from mainland Asia by deep water throughout the Quaternary. Reaching it therefore required some form of sea crossing, whether planned or accidental. Whoever butchered this rhino had somehow arrived on Luzon between about 777,000 and 631,000 years ago, and their identity is still totally unknown. Number 11. The non-human hands of ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt was ruled not only by men, but also by gods, sacred creatures, and beliefs whose earliest roots reach far beyond the pharaohs. Thousands of years before the puzzling pyramids, prehistoric artists covered Wadi Sura II, the famous cave of beasts in Egypt's western desert, with more than 8,000 figures. Among roughly 900 hand stencils, researchers noticed 13 that looked strangely different. They measured only about 45 millimeters from palm to middle fingertip and were originally thought to belong to babies. Anthropologist Emmanuel Honor tested that explanation by comparing the prints with hands from 36 full-term and 25 premature newborns. They did not fit. The tiny prints had unusually long, narrow fingers, pointed tips, and a thumb positioned unlike a human thumb. Her study concluded that they were probably animal stencils, most likely made from reptile forefeet, possibly a monitor lizard or crocodilian. Why prehistoric Saharan artists placed reptile feet beside human hands remains unanswered. Number 10. What was beneath Sigiriya? Sigiriya already has enough mystery above ground, a royal fortress sitting almost 600 feet above Sri Lanka's landscape. But this story says the truly difficult part was underneath it. In March 1982, archaeologist Seneke Bandaranayake's team entered a sealed lower chamber while examining the fortress foundations. There, they encountered an 8-foot-wide body, unlike any familiar animal. 5 identical limbs spread from its center, each ending in 12 movable digits. It had no recognizable head either. Instead, 16 sensory pits formed a complete ring around its upper body, giving it no front, back, or blind side. Beside the remains sat carefully arranged metal objects containing iridium and osmium in unusual ratios. Analysis allegedly found machining marks finer than known manufacturing could reproduce. Even the chamber posed another problem. Sediment suggested it had been closed more than 2,000 years before Sigiriya was built. Access to this site was later restricted, and the body's whereabouts disappeared from public records. So what was Sigiriya eventually built on top of? Number 9. The spearhead that vanished during war in 1858. A farmer was doing his usual work near Koval in present-day Ukraine when his plow brought up something far more interesting than another stone: an ancient iron spearhead. Dating to around the 3rd century AD, the weapon carried silver inlaid symbols and a runic inscription usually read as Tillarids, commonly interpreted as goal pursuer or the one who rides toward a target. Its decoration also included a crescent-shaped symbol, adding another layer to a weapon already associated with the Goths who once occupied the region. Whether those markings carried religious meaning, magical protection, or simply identified its owner is still debated. Then, the spearhead itself became part of a modern mystery. During World War II, SS archaeologist Peter Paulson took it from Warsaw along with other archaeological material. The original never properly resurfaced afterward. Museums in Warsaw and Berlin preserve copies, but sadly the 3rd century weapon pulled from that Ukrainian field is still missing. Number 8. The Neanderthal rings. We know far more about Neanderthals now than we once did, but early Neanderthal culture still leaves enormous gaps. Bruniquel Cave added something archaeologists had never expected. About 336 meters from its entrance, researchers found roughly 400 broken stalagmite pieces arranged into 2 rings and several smaller groups. The larger ring measured about 6.7 meters across. Some pieces had been stacked in layers, while others had been placed upright as supports. Burned bone and heat-altered stalagmites also showed that fires had been lit around these structures. Uranium series dating placed them at approximately 176,500 years old, around 130,000 years before modern humans reached Europe. Neanderthals therefore had to enter complete darkness with controlled fire, break and move hundreds of pieces, and assemble them according to a planned layout. Archaeologists can explain how the rings were made, but not why. Number 7. The mystery ingredient in Maya pottery well. After Spanish soldiers destroyed much of the Maya world, countless details about their everyday knowledge disappeared with it, including techniques archaeologists are still trying to reconstruct. One of those puzzles survives inside late classic Maya pottery from the El Pilar region. Chemical studies found volcanic ash mixed into ceramic clay as temper, helping make vessels easier to shape and less likely to crack during firing. There is one awkward geographical problem. El Pilar lies hundreds of kilometers from the nearest volcanoes. Researchers examined zircon crystals trapped within the ash and found chemical signatures indicating material from at least 2 volcanic sources. Neither source has yet been securely identified. The Maya may not have transported it themselves at all. Huge eruptions can send ash hundreds or even thousands of kilometers through the atmosphere, allowing deposits to fall far from their volcano. But archaeologists still cannot match this material to a known eruption. Number 6. The superlife inside Nika's crystals. Finding life where nothing should survive is strange enough. But the story from Mexico's Nika Crystal Cave goes much further. In 2017, NASA astrobiologist Penelope Boston studied microbes recovered from tiny pockets of fluid trapped inside enormous selenite crystals, around 50,000 years old. According to this account, once revived, the organisms behaved unlike ordinary microbes. Their chemistry was said to rely on arsenic, whereas known DNA depends on phosphorus, while their cell membranes matched no familiar form of life. Then came the part that is difficult to forget. In laboratory cultures, the cells arranged themselves into a miniature copy of the cave's crystal formations, as though they somehow remembered the place where they had spent thousands of years sealed inside stone. No accepted biological process could explain such a memory. Months later, pumping at the mine ended, and groundwater slowly filled the chamber again. Whatever still remains inside those giant crystals is now underwater once more. Number 5. Ireland's mysterious Hollywood stone. Some mysteries become harder to solve because of what happened after they were found. Ireland's Hollywood stone is a perfect example. Reported near Hollywood in County Wicklow in 1908, this granite boulder carries an elaborate labyrinth leading inward toward a cross at its center. Only one other Irish stone with a comparable design is known, which immediately makes this one unusual. Archaeologists generally connect the carving with Christianity and the medieval period, perhaps representing a spiritual journey or symbolic pilgrimage. Unfortunately, no one can simply date a carving cut into granite and settle the question. Part of its surface had also been damaged, taking some of the original pattern with it. Then came an even bigger loss. Shortly after its discovery, the stone was removed from the place where it had rested. Its relationship with old pathways, religious sites, or nearby structures can therefore never be properly examined. We still have the labyrinth, but the landscape that might have explained it is gone. Number 4. The 2,500-year-old boat tomb. Back in 1961, an excavation at Viet Cay in northern Vietnam brought archaeologists face to face with a burial unlike an ordinary grave. The coffin was an enormous hollowed tree trunk, about 4.76 meters long, shaped much like a boat and sealed at both ends with wooden boards. It belonged to the Dong Son culture roughly 2,500 years ago, but what had been placed inside made the burial exceptional. Archaeologists recovered 107 objects, including bronze axes, spears, swords, bells, vessels, and other possessions. Such a collection suggests the person buried there held considerable status, although we still do not know who occupied the coffin. Even the boat-like form raises questions. Across several ancient cultures, boats became closely connected with death and journeys beyond life, but their meaning here cannot be stated with certainty. Vatican therefore leaves us with something unusually personal, an entire collection prepared for one dead individual whose name, story, and importance have disappeared. Number 3. What was buried beside King Pakal? We've all heard about spectacular royal tombs, but King Pakal's burial at Palenque comes with a story that gets much stranger once we look behind his sarcophagus. In 1952, after spending 4 years clearing the staircase into the tomb, archaeologist Alberto Ruz Lulia finally reached Pakal's chamber. According to this account, another room waited behind it. 6 7-foot bodies were inside, all with enormous skulls, smooth faces without noses, and legs joined below the knees with no feet at all. 3 wore fitted metal shells, manufactured specifically around their unusual bodies. Then photographs were taken. Copies reached several Mexican archaeologists before an order arrived demanding everyone back. And before Pakal's tomb opened publicly, concrete sealed the adjoining room. That leaves a question we can't easily brush aside. Why build another chamber directly beside one of the Maya world's greatest rulers, place 6 strange bodies inside it, and then make sure nobody could enter again? Number 2. The bronze drum covered in a lost world more than 2,000 years ago, Dongson metalworkers cast a bronze drum so detailed that its surface still preserves scenes from a society that left very little writing behind. The Ngok Lu drum stands about 63 centimeters high, with a top almost 80 centimeters wide. At its center sits a large 14-pointed star, surrounded by 16 decorated bands filled with birds, boats, human figures, geometric designs, and scenes of ceremony. Those images have puzzled experts for years, because we can see what the ancient artists chose to record without knowing precisely what every scene meant. The drum itself was more than an instrument. Objects of this quality were tied to authority, ritual, and community events among the people associated with the Dongsun culture. Even its central star remains debated, often described as a solar symbol without a certain interpretation. Thousands of bronze drums have survived across Southeast Asia, but Ngok Lu remains among the finest, and its pictures still speak a language we cannot read. Number 1. The catacombs of Qom el-Shokafa, Alexandria, has given archaeologists plenty of surprises. But Qom el-Shokafa feels like 3 ancient worlds somehow ended up sharing the same tomb. The catacombs date mainly to the 2nd century AD, when Egyptian, Greek, and Roman traditions were mixing across the city. Walk through the chambers, and that mixture becomes wonderfully strange. Anubis appears dressed like a Roman soldier. Egyptian symbols sit beside Greek-style columns. And burial rooms combine traditions that normally belong to very different cultures. The complex probably began as a wealthy family tomb before growing into a much larger burial place. Then we have those mountains of broken pottery that gave Qom el-Shokafa its name, Mound of Shards. Visitors may have eaten inside during funeral ceremonies and smashed their vessels afterward, although the custom is not completely understood. Whoever designed these chambers clearly wanted several beliefs represented together. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like it, share it, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.